Welcome to the Recovery Lab podcast. We're glad you were able to join us. Recovery Lab hopes to destigmatize addiction and normalize recovery.
Our platform provides an avenue to share the many stories of those that have recovered from addiction, providing for the listener the most basic antidote to addiction: hope.
All right, everybody, we're back. We've been off for a few weeks. This is the Recovery Lab podcast series. I'm Drew Hassin.
I'm Daniel Anderson.
As I said, we are the Recovery Lab. This is episode number 94.
That's wild.
What now?
I said that's wild.
That is wild. The gratitude / Thanksgiving, let's talk about it episode.
Yeah, a couple days late, but we've been busy and rocking and rolling.
Well, we've been enjoying the fruits of our recovery labors.
Mm-hmm. We absolutely have. All right, so let me just say first off, like anytime there was a gratitude meeting or somebody,
I'm gonna roll my eyes.
Oh my God, I would not.
Shut up.
Look, I hated it more than anything in the world. Like it just made my skin crawl. And there's a good reason for that. Because I wasn't living right. I was completely ashamed of everything that I did, everything that I was, everything that I stood for. And to see these people in 12-step meetings like smiling and laughing, I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing. I want to leave, but something inside me was like, no, you really need to sit down and just sit down. So I did stay, but those first few months, I mean, hearing someone talk about gratitude, I mean, it made like I had a physical reaction to it.
Visceral.
Yeah. Just it was awful. And today, fast forward a little bit, and gratitude meetings are one of my favorite things.
Well, you know, for the person in recovery, the thing we do probably the worst is live in a place where we're not happy with what we have. We're not happy with our car. We're not happy with how much money we have. We're not happy with our family. We're not happy with our friends. We're not happy with our house. And we live in a constant state of contemplating how we're going to change all of those things. And for the most part, those things are largely beyond our control.
Yeah.
Now, if you're super unhappy with your job, sure, you can find a new one. If you're super unhappy with where you live, you can probably find a new place to live. But you're not going to improve those things by some substantial margin. And then you'll just be unhappy with the new thing you have.
Yeah, I have a problem with with balance in a lot of areas of my life, but one of the main things is, you know, I'm trying to build something that's worthwhile, that's helpful to the masses, with this studio and Audio Alchemy Productions. And, you know, I really struggle with being content with where I'm at, because in my mind, you know, what I've built here is, you know, I compare myself to, you know, the likes of like Conan O'Brien and Joe Rogan. Like there's so much more to learn than I've learned so far. And so I start comparing myself, and a client that I'm going to be setting up her home podcast studio, I was over at her house last week, and she and I were talking about, you know, sometimes I'm like, I have a hard time charging what I know is the fair market value or what other people charge, because I don't feel like I know everything. I don't feel like I'm perfect at everything. I feel like I'm learning every single day. And she made a very, very good point. You know, when, you know, the level of things that the normal person understands about podcasting and audio and recording is about right here. Through the experience of just doing it, my experience level is about like right here. Jamie and Joe Rogan, their experience level is way up here. So I'm sitting here comparing myself to what Rogan and Conan O'Brien and Smartless and all these guys are doing, but I'm forgetting the fact that I've got, 2.5 years of experience of fighting and clawing and, getting to the point from here to here. So when she said that, it was really impactful, um, for me because I have to remember that while I don't know everything, I don't, I still have so much to learn and I learn every single day. Um, it's important to, just give yourself a little credit and be appreciative and grateful for where you at, for where you are at and the work that you've put into what you're passionate about. Um, so yeah, that was just something I was thinking about there where you were talking about. So what are some things, I mean, yes, we have oh, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for my children. But what are you really, what, what, what's deeper than that? Let's go a little bit deeper than that because that's the cliche. Everyone's going to say that, you write a gratitude list and those are the things.
Well, off the top of my head, I can tell you. So it's the first of the month, and I was just, and when I mean just, I mean literally just a little while ago, writing some checks for bills, this, that, and the other. And I thought, man, what pain in the ass. And how is it that I feel broke? And then I thought, but I'm not broke. I mean, I've got a place to live and I've got a car and I've got insurance and I've got a refrigerator slap full of
Got
food.
everything you need.
And I can do this. And then I thought, if I really could remember when I was in the throes of addiction, what I would have done then to have the problems that I have now. Oh, I mean, I would have sold my soul to the devil.
Right.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I remember that. And I'm grateful that I can remind myself of how badly I wanted the life I have now then. And that feels pretty good.
Yeah. And it is easier said than done because you know, I couldn't imagine the life that I have today. And also, I hate when people say that. Oh, I couldn't have imagined where my life would be. Like, I had a hard time believing that as well.
Yeah.
Like, shut the F up. Like, I don't believe you. You're talking out of your rear. But it's true. Like, I would have never imagined that I would be where I'm at today, 4 years ago or whatever, at all. I think it's important for us to, stop and smell the roses, and just appreciate where our feet are right now. One of the things for me that, and going to a lot of meetings and hearing newcomers come in is very, very helpful in me remembering this. But this morning I was driving over here, um, and I have to cross the reservoir in order to get to Spillway, or I have to go across the causeway and the Spillway. And the water was completely placid, just like a sheet of glass. Um, and it popped into my head that I've made that drive thousands of times probably. And when I was in active addiction, um, a lot of the times when I was driving across that spillway or the causeway, I wasn't in a place to be able to appreciate the beauty of that water because I was in the deepest depression and self-loathing, and there was no room in my heart for gratitude for anything. And then on top of that, I was usually riding dirty. I either had weed or meth or something in my car.
Riding dirty.
Riding dirty, man. And so there was this added layer of anxiety. Oh, I'm going to get caught. I'm going to get caught. So in the world, in my active addiction world, there was no room for gratitude. There was no room for love. There was no room for um, letting anyone in. Um, and, I was able to kind of be a chameleon to try to be everything that you want in order to, get you to like me. So ultimately, if I ever need something, I'll be able to tap into what I've
That
done.
resource.
Absolutely. There was never any genuine, like, no, I'm gonna check on this guy and see how he's doing. I haven't talked to him in a while. I'm gonna see what he's doing. Like that didn't exist. It was always, what can you do for me? And today I'm capable of, while my circle is uh, incredibly limited, um, like two people. Uh, you know, I don't know. I'm really grateful for the fact that I don't have to drive dirty. I don't have to, be afraid when I'm driving, and I can drive across the reservoir and experience a little bit of peace, which is something that I never in a million years would have thought that I'd be able to experience.
It it really is something that takes some time, and uh, there are things that you can believe in recovery that like they're almost like competing ideas that we're taught to believe, and we have to figure out how to balance those things. So there's the need to grow our feelings of gratitude. And my old friend Calvin, who may have been, in all honesty, the least grateful human I've ever known, did have a pretty good method for growing gratitude. And he believed that we shouldn't just sit down and write some BS gratitude list, but that we could grow our gratitude by affirmation. So he had this list of things that he was grateful for and a list of things that he wanted to be grateful for. And he would just kind of reinforce in his mind every day, I'm grateful for these things, even if he didn't really feel grateful for it. I guess in a manner of tricking himself into believing that he was grateful for those things. So we've got that, like the need, the mandate, the demand to be grateful for things. And then we have the need and the demand to figure out, what are those things that I can improve? Where am I falling short? And what can I do better? And if you get lost too much in what can I do better and what would I like to improve, you can kind of diminish being grateful for it. Like if you have a goal for, I want a new house, that's great. I'm all for goal setting, and I'm all for, trying to be the architect of your own, personal improvement, personal and professional improvement. But you can't do it at the expense of being grateful for what you have now. That's one area of conflict that I have been thinking about over the past few days. So I don't know. I mean, everybody out there listening doesn't know this, but I went to New Orleans with Kimberly and her family and a lot of my family for Thanksgiving. So that was 3+ hours on the way down there and 3+ hours on the way back. So I got in plenty of thinking and contemplating.
Sure.
And I thought, okay, we're getting to the end of the year, beginning of a new year. What am I grateful for? What am I happy about? What are some things that I want to improve? And I thought, these things can kind of operate at the other's expense. If I just focus on, oh, I'm so grateful for this, I don't want to change anything. Well, maybe I get stuck and I lose out on some personal and professional development that I could use to benefit myself or others later. And I wondered, how are you going to make this assessment at the end of the year? How are you that are watching this going to make that assessment at the end of the year? How do you balance what you're grateful for versus what you want to improve, and vice versa?
Yeah, that's a good point, and something that
I don't know that I'm expecting an answer off the top of your head because it's kind of deep, but
yeah, no, it's I don't know. That is a really, really important thing. And again, I go back to the balance, which is something that I struggle with. I feel like, we heard in meetings all through all the time, resting on our laurels is going to wind us back out. And doing the same thing yesterday that we did today, or same thing we did today that we did yesterday in active addiction
Yes.
is not gonna change anything. So there's this on one side, there's, oh, I gotta keep pushing, keep trying to be better, trying to be better. But I also don't want to, um, I don't want to sell myself short that and not appreciate where I'm at right now, which is, I mean, I kind of touched on that earlier today, but I, I don't know. I think it's certainly different for everyone. Um, but for me, I genuinely, I enjoy pushing myself, a lot. What I do up here is not a job. It's fun. It's exciting. It's a lot of times very, very funny. There's a lot of feelings involved with, good, bad, and the ugly. And it's just it's a lot of fun. So me putting effort into growing this and ultimately being able to help a lot of people through clients that I produce for, um, that's what kind of drives me to keep pushing forward. And there's also that voice in my head that, hey, slow down, just take it one step at a time. And and then other voices from people that I've heard talking on podcasts and things that never give up, stay consistent, keep going, whatever you do, keep going, keep going, keep going. Those voices are also popping in my head that okay, well, I can just sit up here and not do any improvements, not change anything, and I'll probably survive. I'll probably be okay. But there's something in my heart that I really want to better myself. I want to better the environment in here to be able to help other people feel as comfortable as possible to be able to get their message out there. So I don't know. It goes to balance for me. I mean, have you had enough time to compile an answer for your own question?
I have
I'm
not.
interested.
I really have not. Now, I did mull over what were some personal and professional goals that I wanted to set for myself for the new year.
Okay.
And I don't think he listens to this, but a shout out to Mark Chin,
Mm-hmm.
an attorney that I used to work for. He had this whole spiel about goal setting and how Princeton University had done this study and found that, I mean, it was some astronomical percentage, like 90% of the people, of the graduates they tracked that had written goals. I don't know if it was 90% of the ones that had written goals achieved it, or you had a 90% greater chance of achieving your goals if you write them. Like there's just some kind of magic that comes from writing them out. And I think it really maybe even be an indication of one's commitment to achieving those goals. So I really do want to sit down and write out a few goals. It doesn't have to be crazy. And
Do you think he'll actually do this?
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, just 5 or 10 of them. Like, what are some things that I want to accomplish in the new year? And I know that some of them aren't even finish line goals. Like I probably will not put on there lose 10 pounds, but I probably will put on there have a consistent, healthy exercise routine
Mm-hmm.
that by employing that routine, I probably would lose 10 pounds. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like instead of saying, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds or hey, I want to, want to bench press 250 by the end of the year. I would rather my goal be, I want a consistent dietary and workout regimen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think that's a good way to put it because we don't have to, our goals can be something other than the finish line. I think that was really quite a good point. Um, I feel like, I mean, I hope that you actually do that because I have, I can say that I'm going to do something like that and, life happens and I just kind of, and I also like, I guess I'm fearful of, um, selling myself short. Like if I write down goals, I don't know, but it still wouldn't hurt to write down goals. Um, like there's a part of me that likes to just raw dog life without planning. I mean, and that's good and bad
Well,
in a lot of ways.
There is a methodical approach to this. So again, another shout out to Mark. So Mark was a big, who is that? Who's the guy? He's the inspirational speaker, and he's got a short snip. Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
So Tony Robbins has this goal setting workshop, and I've listened to it. It's like an hour long audio lecture that you listen to every day for like 30 days. Now, this is an impressively condensed version of it, but it goes something like this. Make your goals, and I think the example he gave was purchase Mercedes-Benz. Now, he says, imagine you have just purchased Mercedes-Benz. What was the thing that you did immediately before purchasing the Mercedes-Benz that allowed you to do it? Okay, you had the money in your checking account to pay for it. All right, what did you do before then? All right, you had to find out how much money you did need to have. And then, what did you do before that? Well, you called the dealership to ask them how much the car cost. And then, what did you do before that? Well, you looked online and you picked, S400, S430, AMG 63, whatever it was. Now, you picked the car that you wanted. You found how much it was. All right, what did you do before then? And then what did you do before then? And so by the time you've backed all these things up, you're at what is literally step one in the process of getting this Mercedes-Benz. And Tony Robbins this is this is very paraphrased, but that was kind of it. So, if your goal is something finite and static, like I want to lose 20 pounds, okay, how do you lose 20 pounds? Okay, you need to find out what, how many calories are what is your daily caloric intake? Okay, you need to find out a way to trim 500 calories a day out of that daily caloric intake over X amount of period of time, and then you would, net your 20-pound loss. Okay, how are you going to figure this out? All right, I'm going to get an app that tells me how much my caloric intake is, and I'm going to track what my caloric intake is over a certain amount of time to give me, So there are methodical ways of approaching goal setting and goal attaining, but again, it just takes doing it.
Yeah.
And talking about doing it, the addict and alcoholic is great at.
Oh, yeah.
Turning that into doing it. So, look, I would challenge you, because when I say I'm going to write these things down, like my goal setting for the next year, I'm literally going to type it into the Notes app. I mean, I'm not going to buy some leather-bound book, with handmade paper and write
buy
this
a
shit
new
down in
Mont Blanc
calligraphy.
pen for
Yeah.
That's some stuff I would do.
So yeah, I mean, I know, yeah.
I'm going to do this, but I have to get this $10,000 pen first.
I need this custom-made bookshelf, and I'm going to have a booklet, a handmade leather-bound book for each year.
Yeah.
Tracking my...
With paper made out of goat testicles or something.
Yeah, it's a handmade Italian paper. Very fun. Yeah. So no, I'm going to type it into my notes and then just kind of assess it. These are the things I'd like to accomplish.
How many do you think you're going to do?
I'm going to try to go for 10.
All right, how about this?
I know what one of them is.
What's that?
I want to make my closet in my bedroom something my father would not criticize. Okay. He would certainly criticize it if he saw it right now.
Okay. How about this? What do you feel about this? How about you do your 10?
Okay.
I'll do 10.
All right.
And how long do you think this would take to complete?
I mean, I can probably get 3 or 4 of them down.
So by next week, do you think you'd be able to have 10?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you feel about this? Either sharing them, just you and I, or...
I'll share them on here.
Sharing them on here. What do you feel?
I've already thought of a couple of things that I want to do.
Okay, well, don't say them then.
I won't.
We're going to present them next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's some accountability built into that.
Yes.
I like that. Okay, so goals.
Look, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a calendar reminder, because I've found if it doesn't get onto my calendar, the likelihood it gets done decreases.
Yeah.
So today's the 1st. Next Sunday is the 8th. I'm going to put a calendar reminder for Thursday. Goal setting for recovery lab.
And I'm going to make a note, a post-it note, so I don't forget to put it in my schedule. Goals. 10 by 12, 8. Okay.
This is one area, these kinds of things, where I'm appreciative of the AI world, because eventually you're going to just be able to tell your phone, you know, hey, add this to my running list of things that I want. You probably already can do it in some fashion.
Oh, Riley can do, like, the kids these days. Riley can tell Siri. I mean, he's unbelievably wicked with Siri, to the point where he doesn't have to touch anything on his phone. And I guess, my God, I'm old. I don't know. Like I've tried to get into Siri, but it like makes mistakes, and it's just easier to like, but Riley has absolutely no problem, and he communicates very, very effectively. So
kids adapt to technology quicker than adults do.
Yeah. Although, like, our generations, you had internet, right? You're 46, right?
I'm 48.
48.
I remember when the internet came to Yazoo City.
What year was that?
Would have been like 93, 94.
Yeah. Was it just like dial-up?
Of course.
Did you have AOL?
Yes, that's all there was to have.
That was a wild time.
It really was.
Yeah, kids today are absolutely phenomenal at
what blows my mind though is I have recently learned, what is it called? Discord.
Yeah.
So
what is I hear about that. What exactly is that?
Here's what baffles me. So as y'all all know, in the 90s, all internet was AOL, and you could chat with people in chat rooms. And here we are 30 years later.
Oh my God. I don't want to say that was 30 years ago.
And kids are consumed with Discord, and it's just a bunch of people chatting. Now, there are lots of other uses. You can, I don't even know all of the uses.
Is it like Twitch? Or
I think so.
But it's just text?
It's a lot of texting.
So like Twitter? But
they seem to be like chat rooms.
Oh.
And gaming. They're chat rooms on steroids. They're the Arnold Schwarzenegger of chat rooms. Like, I think you can, have a headset with a mic and can talk to people and all that. But
that's kind of cool. So what else are you grateful for, Drew?
Look, I'm grateful for the kinds of problems that I have. I mean, I'm grateful for the problems I have as an attorney, because that means I got my license back. And, I'm grateful that I have lots of bills because I have been responsible and I'm handling my business. I don't like paying daycare every month, but I like having the kid that goes to that daycare. So
it seems like we paid $600 a month.
$640.
That's what you're paying?
Yeah.
$640 a month. Oh.
Look, when I had 3 kids in daycare, it cost more than a mortgage. Twice what the mortgage was.
Oh man. But you got to do it.
You do have to do it.
You got to do it. You can't. People seem to frown about you just locking kids in the house.
Can't put them in the cage
alone. Yeah. I guess
somebody will come visit you.
Yeah. It's probably not a great idea. But yeah, I'm grateful for 12-step meetings. I mean,
there we go.
So I try to go to one. There's a meeting in Dallas where I first got sober, and it's a virtual meeting every morning at 7:30, and I go at least 5 days a week. Um, and it's just, there's something about that being a part of a community every day. So I see these people pretty much every day, and I know their deepest, darkest secrets, their pains, their triumphs, their everything. And it's like this group of people that we're all there. We're completely different, but we're also completely the same and struggle with the well, I won't say we actively struggle, but deal with the exact same things that we're all dealing with. And also, normal people, normies, don't have the luxury of being able to hop on a meeting anytime or go to an in-person meeting virtually anytime. Like, they don't have that. Normal people, what, you have therapy that you're paying someone to listen to you, which, don't get me wrong, I have a
We
therapist.
support it.
I go every week and I love my therapist, but I pay her to listen to me and to help me guide myself through the good, the bad, the ugly, and it's incredibly beneficial to me. But 12-step meetings don't cost a thing, and the community, uh,
Brotherhood.
the brotherhood that you get there is absolutely second to none. And then all that but you also get sponsorship, which is I'm super grateful for my sponsor. When I was first sober, I wore his phone out, and it was just, I mean, I called him sometimes 4 times a day, just because this time that I got sober, I really didn't want to. I didn't want it to turn out like the you know 50 times that I've tried to get sober in the past, for the past 20 years or whatever. So I was very, I blew his phone up. And that continued for like the first 6 months. Even though I had experience in the program, like, I was so terrified of going back to the person that I was. I didn't like that guy at all. And normal people don't have the luxury of being able to call someone and say, "Hey, my ass has fallen off. I'm really struggling right now. Can I just talk with you?" And that person is here because someone did the exact same thing for them. So I don't know. I'm grateful that I kind of earned a seat in 12-step meetings, um, and it enabled me to become the person that I am today, and I genuinely like that person. Um, every day isn't a wonderful, great, perfect day, but uh, most days are pretty great. I feel positive more often than not. And I didn't feel positive ever when I was in active addiction. Even when I got really, really high and felt really, really great, there was still that in the back of my mind. There was no freedom. There was, okay, I got to do this, or I'm not going to be happy or be able to do anything unless I do this. So I could, certainly, lie to myself and say, "Oh, this is so incredible. This is fun. You're having a great time." But I mean, I was just lying to myself. I knew that what I was doing was, it's not going to be good for me in any way, shape, or form. So I guess 12 step, man. I mean, it's been a lifesaver to me, and sponsorship has been an absolute lifesaver for me. And I mean, I'm super, super grateful about that. I would be lost without those two things. So, what are some other things that you're grateful for? Deep down things, no
That-
topical.
That that just because I don't allow things that I'm unhappy or dissatisfied with to completely wreck my life. So I have issues with, like, relationship issues, and I don't mean just like romantic relationship issues with my wife. I mean, like, just relationship issues with certain people. And sometimes sometimes the issues are more profound and pronounced than other times. And this it doesn't have to ruin my whole life. When when I have things that are taxing, like, so since I've gotten my license back and my workload has quadrupled, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. I can look at this with some perspective and think, okay, I have been training in the time that I've been sober and working to be better at this. And I'm grateful that I can draw on my past experiences to tell me that, hey, if I just trust in the process and stay consistent, then I can overcome these difficulties with a modicum of peace and serenity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty grateful for that.
Absolutely. One more thing that I kind of want to discuss before we hop off here is the fact that we have the ability, and this is sober people and normal people, we have the ability to start our day over.
Amen.
Sean Guy's daughter was in here last night, and we were all talking about this, and she mentioned something that Sean shared with her that Sean's sponsor shared with him. And she had just a crap day. I think Sean called her to check in and to see how she was doing. And she was like, I've had a really, really bad day, but I started my day over because I didn't want to sit in that. And I wound up having a good day. And it sounds simple and let me switch that. It sounds simple and kind of silly, but we can restart our day at any time. And that takes practice. It's not something that we learn to do overnight. It's, trying and failing, but eventually we'll get to a point where, the first thing that we think of when something negative happens in our life or something difficult happens in our life, and we're like, man, this really sucks. This is going to ruin my day. It takes time to be able to recognize that, hey, okay, yes, this is a really difficult thing, but also I'm going to be more uncomfortable if I allow this to completely take over the rest of my day. So, and then being able to take a stand and say, I'm not going to do this. We're going to start over and we're going to continue going. And that takes practice. But for me, it's been, that has been a really, really good thing in my life. And another thing real quick, gratitude is an action, right?
It is.
It's not, I don't wake up and just like, oh, I'm just grateful today. No, it's a lot of times I have to force myself. Like I'll be upset or sad or pissed off about something. And today, my first response is my personal response is, okay, yes, this sucks, but do you want to continue being pissed off like this? Or do you want to try to work really hard and identify the silver lining in whatever is going on right now and try to figure out how this is going to be good for you in the long run and kind of figure out that, hey, God is not going to put me through anything that I can't get through. So what I'm going through right now is obviously a time for me to learn or grow in some area of my life. So when I start thinking difficult thing, learn, grow, okay, learning and growing is not a bad thing. So, going through this, whatever difficult thing is, I'm going to be stronger on the other side. And I'm also going to learn and grow. So is this really a bad thing or is this kind of a good thing? And it's going to make me a better man. But that takes practice also. And I still fail at that sometimes. I can lose gratitude very, very quickly, especially when I'm behind the wheel and there's somebody in the left lane driving the speed limit or below. All gratitude goes out the door. And
so even if they're driving the speed limit, so they're doing what they should be doing
in the left lane. No, the left lane is for passing only. It's for passing only, Drew.
I don't know that you're entitled to speed just because you're passing. Now, people do.
Okay. So what about this? Going slightly less than the speed limit in the left lane. Is that not egregious to you?
It doesn't do to me.
Does that not fire you up and genuinely want that person to burn because of the misdeeds that they're doing to society right now, that doesn't do that for you?
Look, as my
I hate people
Gen
that
Z
do
son
that.
says, it ain't that deep.
Oh, it's deep, man. These people are driving slow in the left lane, which also is illegal. It is illegal. It is. It's illegal. You can go to jail for at least 40 years if you do it.
Yes.
So anybody listen to this,
no possibility
if
of
you
parole.
drive slower than the speed limit in the left lane, not only are you a horrible, disgusting, selfish individual, you also might go to jail.
Should.
And get a ticket.
The gulag.
Yeah. So
all right, we will circle back on goal setting and
We
things
will.
to accomplish in the new year.
we will. Episode 95 is going to be next week, so we're
It
excited
rolls
about
off
that.
the tongue, doesn't it?
It does. We're almost to 100 episodes.
100.
That's wild.
Look, I would like to add. So I'm a podcast. I
Junkie.
consume many podcasts.
As do
I
I.
listen to a fantastic one. Lex Friedman interviewed this guy named Andretti, Andrete, on the history of Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 3 hours and 45 minutes. And I listened to the whole thing.
Yeah.
So in the podcasting sphere, there isn't a podcast out there that has superior technology to what there is here.
Yeah, I mean, everything that I have is on par with what Rogan has, honestly.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
he's got a
people
little
ought
bit.
to see this place. It's astonishing.
Well, and again, I didn't have this ultimate vision of what I wanted, but I knew that this is, I thought that this is what God or the universe or,
You
what my
stayed
purpose
consistent,
is.
and you ought to see this place.
And you just build, you add.
We ought to do a behind the scenes podcast.
I don't know. I don't care about that. But yeah, it's just.
It'll just
like,
be me holding my iPhone,
if you,
following you around.
yeah, it's just all about consistency and, practicing what I preach to everybody that comes in here. You got to be consistent. Consistency is the number one thing.
You didn't start with these baller ass Rode mic stands.
No.
We had some bunk ones.
Yeah, I got cheap ones.
We had some 2x4s with C clamps, and
Yeah.
we were on that table in there.
Yeah, I remember. I had a dream about that table last night, dude. I had a dream that you and I and a couple other people were sitting around this table, and I mentioned, hey, this is the table that Denise Marsters gave us from the
And
thrift
then,
store.
Originally, we just had a camera up in the corner.
No, originally we didn't have any camera, did we?
Originally, there were no cameras for sure. But the first time we had a camera, it was just a camera that was kind of up in the corner. Or maybe there were two.
Oh, we had a webcam.
A webcam.
Yeah, we had a webcam, and you just keep building, you keep going, you keep striving
A little bit here,
to be
like
good.
pushing a rope uphill. Eventually, you get it there.
That's right. So, yeah, this is all a testament to just don't give up
Just don't give up.
and keep going and never stop approaching life with curiosity.
Yes.
And hard work. All right, guys, we have taken up too much of your time. We do apologize, but we are grateful that you guys have stuck in there with us, and we will see you next week for episode number 95 of the Recovery Lab podcast.
We're out.